Good evening. Once again, we return to the story of Caius, Spellsword, Dunmer, Eternal Champion, former head of the Blades in Vardenfell, Hortator of the Great Houses, Nerevarine, Champion of Cyrodiil, finest courier in Tamriel, Chosen of Sheogorath. I don't recall, did I drop off the... No, I didn't. Okay. So in this case, a better mousetrap.
I've learned that in order to restore Xedilian, I must activate the Resonator of Judgment. To do so, I will need to find 3 focus crystals and place them each in a Judgment Nexus, which will prepare the Resonator for attunement. I should proceed to Xedilian now and begin my search.
In fairness, we've had a pretty good run as far as crashes go, so hopefully that's just an anomaly. I've been having a few little audio problems, so hopefully that's not going to cause too much difficulty with the broadcasts, but...
I've entered Xedilian. I should now begin locating the focus crystals that link the Resonator of Judgment with the rest of the dungeon.
Actually, if you can just give me one quick second here, I'm going to need to kill the audio for a second. There is one detail I'd like to check. And this is, it's just an audio concern. Alright, sorry about that. But yeah, so I'm having some difficulty with hearing audio, but also playing it in the... sorry, recording it. So every once in a while I'll just take... I'm just going to take a second to make sure I'm getting things done correctly. I guess I don't really need to take the repair hammers anymore.
I've discovered the first of the 3 focus crystals. It was affixed to the top of a Grummite shaman's crystal staff. I think they're using the crystals as a power source for their weapons. Now that I've removed it from the staff, I should place the focus crystal in its judgment nexus to continue. I've placed the first focus crystal into its nexus. I can now continue searching for focus crystals.
Still takes a little getting used to. Oh, come on. Yeah, I think I was supposed to get some pearls, but like flawless pearls, I think. Yeah, 5 flawless pearls. It's gonna take some effort. Where's this button? There we go. It's not quite obvious how I'm going to find someone to buy that cuirass, but so I'm trying to think who that might be, but fun. See if we can recover the strength on its own.
I've discovered the second focus crystal. I should place it in its judgment nexus to continue. I place the second focus crystal into its nexus. I can now continue searching for the final focus crystal.
Right now I need to make some hard decisions, weight-wise. Of course. Can't help myself, apparently. Alright. It's a start. That only made things worse. All right. Problem solved. Not again! There's one.
I've discovered the third and final focus crystal. I should place it on its judgment nexus to continue. I place the third and final focus crystal into its judgment nexus. The path to the resonator of judgment itself is now clear. My next task should be to attune the resonator by using the attenuator of judgment that Sheogorath provided me.
Well, surely I should be able to drink one of the heavier potions. Ah! Now well. Did what it was intended to do. I'm gonna want to sell a lot of these when I'm back in town, but oh. I was kind of hoping for area of effect damage, but I don't think that quite accomplished what I was looking for. Excuse me. Figure it's just as easy to drop that.
The Resonator of Judgment has been attuned. I should now make my way back to Sheogorath and report my success to Sheogorath.
Cool. This looks trustworthy.
Finally, Lord Sheogorath has sent someone to assist me. But where are my manners? Must get into my professional tone. Welcome to Xedilian. I'm the dungeon caretaker, Caliban Nerendil.
Tell me about this place.
A wonder of engineering, is it not? Xedilian is the ultimate test of mettle for the foolhardy adventurer that dares trespass into the Shivering Isles. What they don't know is that they're being drawn to their doom, courtesy of the Resonator of Judgment.
Interesting. Tell me more.
Ever since that wretched gatekeeper was made, Xedilian became redundant. It fell into disrepair and was eventually all but forgotten. After only a few years passed, the Grummites began moving in. Ghastly things. They mistook the focus crystals for some sort of religious symbols and removed them from their rightful places. This rendered the Resonator inert and Xedilian completely useless. Luckily, you came along and placed Xedilian back into operation.
Enough. How do I get out of here?
Yes, I tend to ramble. You'll have to forgive me. If you have the attenuator, then Sheogorath must have sent you. Xedilian would normally have sent you back to the entrance when you stepped on the pad in the resonator chamber. Since you're up here, I can only surmise that adventurers are already entering the dungeon as we speak.
What should I do?
The only thing we can do is let the adventurers complete a cycle through here. I'll be glad to help. I assume Sheogorath gave you the Manual of Xedilian. You can consult it for more information, or I can provide instructions.
Tell me about the chamber.
I will be happy to describe each chamber and explain the event that unfolds as we proceed through Xedilian.
And the resonator?
The resonator works by drawing adventurers to itself with a sort of magical siren's call. Sheogorath uses the resonator to find the cream of the crop, as he calls them, the best of the worst, to populate the Isles. Quite clever, eh?
Tell me more about the chamber again.
This first chamber is the Chamber of the Gnarl. At the touch of a button, you can cause a large group of tiny gnarls to appear and attack the adventurers. Or, if you're feeling merciful, we can have the group terrorized by a seemingly lowly gnarl that instantly grows to twice their size. The hallucinogenic spore gas we release into the chamber will help lull the victims into believing the creature means to kill them. Don't worry, its bark is far worse than its bite.
A little too excited about this, in my opinion. You can just give me one quick second here. I'm just getting my audio problems again, so I wanted to run a quick test. I don't think it should interrupt the stream too much, but it does distract me a little bit. I think what's happening is my cable for my headphones is starting to fray, so I've ordered a new one, but I do need to try and make this one work until the replacement arrives. And obviously, I don't want to bank on any kind of shipping right now. Alright, what was this about instructions again?
As the adventurers make their way through Xedilian's chambers, they will encounter choices that you make in these control platforms. All you need to do is decide what becomes of the adventurers. Will you drive them insane, or will you pull the life from their bodies?
How do I make the choices?
Simple. Wait until the adventurers are in position, and then press a button. If they survived, they will proceed to the next chamber, and so on. It's really quite ingenious.
How do I know when I'm done?
You'll know you're done when they lie dead on the ground, or they are out of their minds. Of course, any of their possessions you wish to keep are yours for the taking. I'll make sure you get them when you're done.
Do you handle the cleanup?
Well, the dead will be disposed of, have no fear. That's my job. Those that are lucky enough to merely go insane will be granted a place in the Shivering Isles as a permanent resident.
Explain the choices I'm making.
Each chamber presents two options. When you push the appropriate button, an event will unfold for the adventurers to experience. One is physically harmful, usually lethal traps or creatures, something relished by the residents of Dementia. The other choice is more mental. They are designed to make the adventurers lose their grip on reality, much like the residents of Mania. Of course, The introduction of spore gas with the mania choices helps as well.
That's enough information.
As you wish. What else? So good to be back in business.
Now keep your weapons ready and watch your backs. Do what I say, we might just get out of here alive. Ain't it cute?
This is the one that drives him nuts, I think. I'm gonna save it though.
What in Oblivion is that thing?
This is one of the horrid guardians of which the stories spoke?
Be careful. There may be more to this creature than meets the eye.
What a joke. Let's be rid of this thing and continue on our way.
Are my eyes playing tricks? Or is the creature
By the gods,
growing?
when will it stop? It could devour us whole.
Run for your lives!
Get back here, you cowards. Something's not right.
All this time it was merely an illusion. How clever.
Wait, what's wrong with Lewin?
Makes no sense. Should be dead. Well, what? Oh,
I think this place got to him. Perhaps we should leave.
No, we'll pick him up on the way out. He must fend for himself.
I've unleashed the giant gnarl on the adventurers in Xedilian. With the threat of what he perceived as certain death knocking at his door, Lewin the rogue has gone insane. I should make my way to the next observation room and choose how the adventurers will encounter their next obstacle.
going to get us. Get us all.
Look, I told you. Treasure. Let's have at it, Xedilius.
What can I assist you with? The second chamber of Xedilian is the Chamber of Avarice. The adventurers will have to overcome their feelings of greed as they set their eyes upon the huge piles of treasure locked behind that gate. You may choose to spring a fire trap and cause them great harm as they stand before the gate. Or you can fill the chamber with hundreds of keys and watch them frantically search for the correct one. Always a crowd pleaser. You're doing quite well so far. Keep it up.
Blast! The cage is locked.
Greymarch, be careful. This looks too good to be true.
If only Lewin were here, he could get us through this in no time.
We'll have to fend for ourselves. Do you think you can pry the door open?
Forget it. This is obviously a trick. Let's get out of here.
To be so close, and yet so far. If only we had the key. Wait, do you hear something? Look, keys. One of them must open the gate. We're rich.
Let's get out of here, Xedilius. This is obviously a trick to waste our time.
I'll know it when I see it. Yes, it must be here.
They're all fake. Just come with me now.
Find it. Yes, I must find the key. Rich beyond all my dreams.
Suit yourself.
I've got Xedilius the mage to go insane by pouring hundreds of keys on the ground, which convince him that one of them opened the gate to the huge treasure pile. All that remains now is the leader of the group, Greymarch. I should make my way to the last observation room and choose how the stubborn orc will encounter his final obstacle.
Riches, countless. Too bad none of those keys fit the lock. I see Lord Sheogorath chose wisely when he selected you to liberate Xedilian. Now, how may I continue to assist you?
Tell me about this chamber.
The third chamber of Xedilian is the Chamber of Anathema. Its contents are designed to make sure it's the final encounter. The adventurers will be subject to horrors beyond their imagination. Visions of repugnance, death, and malevolence reside in this room. If you wish to bring ruin to your victims, you may choose to animate some of the corpses and watch as they satiate their hunger. Or we can create the illusion of the adventurer's dying and his spirit rising from his corpse. Good fun to be had for all. Then, just as suddenly as we kill him, we revive the adventurer. There are few minds that can stand this type of torture. You're doing quite well so far. Keep it up.
Steady, Greymarch, steady. You've been through worse before. What more could this place possibly throw at you? What? How in Oblivion can I be dead? This is impossible. Nothing killed me. I didn't even get a chance to fight.
Sounds like my experience
No
in the
chance
Elder
to
Scrolls
defend
sometimes.
myself? No chance for battle? Why? Impossible. This is impossible. Greymarch has never lost a fight. Never.
By making Greymarch think that he actually died and became a ghost, I've driven him insane. Now that's all the adventurers have been dealt. Now that all of the adventurers have been dealt with, I should speak to Caliban.
You've made short work of the intruders. Sheogorath should be proud to have such an efficient apprentice. Now, if you'll step on the last teleporter pad, I will meet you in the reception chamber so we can recover your earnings. I'm afraid you've exhausted Xedilian's resources. This was the final chamber.
Should have read these before.
I met Caliban Nirendil inside one of the many observation rooms of Xedilian. It also appears that Xedilian has its first visitors, a group of adventurers. It's up to me to decide whether to allow Xedilian to kill them or drive them insane. I've unleashed the giant Gnarl on the adventurers in Xedilian. With the threat of what he perceived as certain death knocking at his door, Lewin the Rogue has gone insane. I should make my way to the next observation. Well, I've read these already, so... Caliban Nirendil has told me to meet him in Xedilian's reception chamber, where I can recover the defeated adventurer's gear. I should use the final teleport pad to make my way there now.
Not to worry. We'll have your spoils to you in no time at all.
It's gonna drop 1,000 keys.
As is the tradition, you are to be awarded a focus crystal as a token of your fine work. I'll have it sent to the palace and placed in the main hall if you wish to take a look at it.
You spoke of earnings.
Oh yes, of course. It seems a most unusual weapon was recovered from the orc warrior, Greymarch. Never seen anything like it, but perhaps his journal can give you some useful information. Beyond that, take whatever else you need from the recovery chest. You've earned it. You're free to go at any time, of course, just up that hallway. Good luck to you.
I received some items in gold from Caliban Nirendil that belong to the adventurers. I can now safely report back to Sheogorath in that Xedilian is in full operation.
This is going to be a tough one. Well, not entirely. I've got strength potions if it really comes down to it.
Third of Rain's Hand, third era, 431. We were finally able to convince that idiot rogue Lewin that it was time to give up that strongbox money he stole from Lel's quality merchandise in Anvil and ditch it outside the castle. All the heat he brought on the group was starting to chafe. Xedilian pretty much sat him down and made him do it, because I was ready to put my foot in his face. I know he's a rogue, but we're adventurers. We get our loot from raiding old crypts and ruins and places that ain't got guards. He can be a real horse's ass sometimes, I'll tell you. 12th of Rain's Hand, third era, 431. Rad Freitas we had. We hit what was left of old Fort Wariel, and after slaughtering a bunch of no-good marauders and grabbing their loot, we made our way north. We came to the ruins of Trumba. Xedilian said that they were Aelid or Iliad or some kind of old civilization, but all I cared about was how loaded with gold they were. He said usually they were, so we went in. What a mistake. This place was crawling with skeletons and ghosts. These things gave me the creeps. How can I fight something that ain't even alive? Lewin took a few good hits and had to pop all his potions. Xedilian broke his arm when a trap almost crushed him to death, and I got a nasty scar across my forehead. Close call. Best of all, when we got to the treasure hoard, Lewin was out of lockpicks. Why do we even keep him with us? If we had to drag the damn container out of the Trumb and all the way back to camp at Treen. Now I'm sitting here staring at a stupid metal box, wishing I could use Lewin's head to bash it open. What a dolt. 13th of Rain Hand, third era, 431. After a night of deciding whether or not to snap off Lewin's legs and use them as firewood, I sent Xedilian and Lewin to Anvil to buy more lockpicks while I guarded the box. I came back in a few hours, and Lewin picked the lock in the first try. Good thing, too. I was still pretty mad at the guy. I don't like sitting around all day. Anyways, Xedilian got all excited when he saw something wrapped in some sort of fancy cloth. Inside the cloth was a bunch of stuff, but the best was the sword. What a beauty. Blade looks like a mouth with teeth, handle like a golden snakeskin, and the gem in the middle of it. Perfect fiery orange and red, like the sky at dawn. Xedilian was going crazy, and I asked him what all this noise was for. He told me it was Akaviri or something like that, made by the snake people, or the Cyasi or whatever. Xedilian says Cyasi starts with a I, just now when he saw me writing this. But that doesn't make any sense. I have no idea who they're trying to refer to here. I kind of know. I just don't remember the actual name for these things. Anyways. Fine, there, I wrote it. By the 9. Xedilian was nosy sometimes. Anyway, best was yet to come. Right as the sun was setting, the sword vanished for a moment and was suddenly replaced by another weapon that looked almost the same. But the gem was deep blue and purple. Xedilian said that he was certain that at dawn it would change back to orange and red gem. This was good enough for me. That alone made the sword the best thing that I'd ever seen. Lewin muttered something about Akaviri magic, but I told him to shut up. I decided to call the sword Dawnfang when it was orange and red, and Duskfang when it was blue and purple. 14th to 16th Rain's Hand, 3rd era, 431. Things are getting better and better with my new sword in these last few days. I found out that Dawnfang is a fire blade and Duskfang is a frost blade. Handy for extra killing power. But the best was that I found out when a Minotaur decided to jump us and I landed the killing blow. I heard a voice in my head. Or maybe a thought. I don't know, it was weird. But it felt like the sword knew that I'd just killed a Minotaur. Like it was counting or something. At first I thought that maybe I was just tired, but after tearing through a camp of bandits, it kept counting. After the 12th kill, it told me that its thirst was satisfied. At least, I think it told me. Then it stopped. Xedilian said it's possible that the sword was a blood drinker. My kind of sword. But I didn't know what would happen. Didn't take that long to find out. When dusk came around, the blade changed. I almost fell off the campfire log. The new blade was still Duskfang, but it somehow seemed stronger. I could just tell. I couldn't wait to try it out. I ran right out and looked for something to kill. It didn't take long to come across a few of these stupid imps. Sure enough, not only did it do frost damage like normal, but I could also feel the energy from the creature transfer to me every time I hit it. What a weapon this was! Yeah, Duskfang Superior. That's what I'll call it. Sometimes I amaze even myself. Xedilian said that he was sure Duskfang would blood drink too, and I could power up Dawnfang with it. I spent all night looking for 12 things to kill. When the sun came up, he was right. Dawnfang Superior is to be this one's name. It's like having 4 blades in one. 17th and 19th of Rain's Hand, 3rd era, 431. It's been the most fun I've ever had in my life, cutting a bloody swath across the ruins of Cyrodiil with my new double sword. Xedilian and Lewin are even more confident now that we have such a powerful weapon. Now that we have such a powerful weapon among us. We've gathered tons of loot in the last 3 days, but nothing to compare to this. We're going to head north and explore an area around Nibin Bay today. I hope that something else like this turns up on our adventures. Then I'm going to retire.
Technically, this does more damage, but we'll switch it out. So I gotta get out of here pretty quick. Where's my sword?
Before exiting Xedilian, it was attacked by 3 unusual beings in equally strange armor. I should ask Caliban if he knows anything about them.
That was quite a battle. I hope you are uninjured.
What were those?
You've not heard the legends? How could that be? Those beings, as you call them, aren't beings at all. They are the soulless abominations known as the Knights of Order. Their attraction to the resonator isn't surprising. It was built from one of the obelisks that dot the isles they seem to have an affinity for. You must proceed to Sheogorath at once and tell him the knights have returned. Quickly now, go!
Need to report to Sheogorath that Xedilian is working and that the Knights of Order have appeared in the Shivering Isles.
It's gonna be a close one in terms of making it on the one potion. I suspect I won't because of that fight, but we'll do our best. don't really want to fight anything if I can avoid it, just so that I don't have to pop another potion. Wow, it's worth a try. I think eventually I'm going to need to leave the Shivering Isle, unless I can buy a place. I'm going to have to... Excuse me. I'm going to have to leave the Shivering Isles and drop off some of my excess gear, but we'll see how it goes. For instance, if I get, if the amber... If the amber armor winds up being better than the glass armor, I'm probably going to want to replace, or, you know, to drop it off. Some extra weight that I don't really need to carry around. Probably an indirect way of getting where I want to. Hang on. I thought that was a misleading direction. Ah!
I hope you have something for me. Let me see. Yes, this is it. Please accept this as a gesture of thanks. It's the least I can do for you. After all, you saved my life. Eat well while you have your health. Take care.
Not bad.
Hi.
Have you found anything for me?
Nothing for you yet.
Let me know when you have something for me. Not much time left, I'm afraid. Not much time at all. Please, look. Bye. Something here might save you when the end comes. A fair. I can accept that. You got a good deal there. That seems fair to me. A fair. That's a. That seems fair to me. That seems fair. I can't part with anything for... You got a good deal there. That's a... You got... A fair... That seems... I can... That's a... That seems fair to me. A fair bargain. That... You got a good deal there. A fair bargain. I can accept that. You got a good deal there. That's a fair deal. That seems fair to me. A fair bargain. That's a fair deal. You got a good deal there. You got a... You got a good... That's a fair deal. If the world hasn't ended, I'll be here. Come back again. Bye.
It's probably not enough to quite...
Greetings.
Probably not quite enough to finish everything we want to carry, but it's a good start.
Hi.
I do delicate things with madness more. It tingles across the flesh when it cuts. I've got the sharpest blades in the Isles. Maybe anywhere. Take a look. You got a good deal there. You got a good deal there. If you need more, you know where to find me. I'm nearly always at work. Bye.
Not entirely sure if I have the weight that I need, but yay.
Speak quickly, mortal.
I see you've returned. How exciting for you. I believe you have some news for Lord Sheogorath. Perhaps you should be speaking with him instead of illuminating me with your presence.
Well, look who's here. You! How about that? Well now, what news do you have to report?
I was attacked by knights.
So soon? Not a surprise, I suppose. We'll get to that later. No need to burden your little brain with it now. And Xedilian, since you're standing here, I assume you've succeeded. Or you're terribly confused, or really lacking in good judgment.
Xedilian functions once more.
Wonderful! Time for a celebration! Cheese for everyone! Wait, scratch that. Cheese for no one. That could be just as much of a celebration if you don't like cheese, true? You've run a maze like a good little rat, but no cheese for you yet. Oh, well, maybe a little. I've granted you a new spell, the ability to summon Haskell, my chamberlain,
he's gonna be thrilled
to aid
with
you
that.
in your travels. He knows a lot. More than he knows. In fact, give it a try. Summon our friend to you now. I'll wait.
Sheogorath has given me the ability to summon Haskell. He is very insistent and won't tell me what he wants until I do it.
I'm missing something here.
Our Lord has granted you the power to summon me. How wonderful for me. When summoned, I can offer advice on your current endeavor. I imagine it's up to you what to do with my wisdom. Do try to use your power sparingly. I have duties to which I must attend. Rather more important than shepherding you around, I'm sure.
Isn't that a hoot? I love it myself. Best part of being a Daedric prince, really. Go ahead. Try it again. He loves it.
Sorry.
Summoned again. My lord does so enjoy that, as is his prerogative. I'll assume you're done for now.
Good, good. You'll need all the help you can get if you're going to defeat Jigalag and stop the Greymarch. Oh, Don't expect to summon dear Haskell anywhere but in the realm. He dislikes leaving my presence. I get that sometimes.
Juggalag, who is that?
The Daedric Prince of Order. Or biscuits. No, order. And not in a good way. Bleak, colorless, dead, boring! And not a fan of my work, I can tell you. Hates it, hates me. A bit single-minded, if you take my meaning. You've seen his knights. Not the warm and cuddly sort. Not a bit of original thought in their lifeless husks. So, you're going to help me stop him.
Me? How?
Again with the niggling little details. Hold your tongue, or I will. We'll get to that, all in due time. For now, you've got other work to do.
What's the Greymarch?
An event. A movement. An apocalypse of sorts. Happens every era, at the end of every era. Which is to say, now. The Greymarch comes and Jiggalag walks. Or runs. Never skips, sidles, or struts. And mostly he just destroys everything around him.
What'd you ask of me now?
Ask? Ask? I don't ask! I tell! This is my realm, remember? My creation, my place, my rules! Look at you! No concept of what you've stumbled into. No sense of place. You don't even really know where you are, do you? I suppose few really do, but that's beside the point. We're going to give you a taste of where you found yourself. You're going to learn.
Learn? Learn what?
2 halves, 2 rulers, 2 places. Meet and greet. Do what they will, so you know what they're about. The Duke of Mania and the Duchess of Dementia. Seek them out and let them show you what New Sheogorath is. You might be surprised. Once you understand what my realm is, you might understand why it's important to keep it intact. And maybe you'll make some friends along the way. That's always nice.
Tell me more about the Greymarch.
It's Jiggalag's time, and not a good time at all. You're going to help me stop it. First, though, you need to get your feet wet. I can't expect it to save the place if you don't even understand it. So speak to my dukes, learn about mania and dementia. Try not to die.
And Juggalag?
Another Daedric prince. Not a nice one. I don't think any of the other princes like him, actually. I mean, Malakath is more popular at parties. And Malakath is not popular at parties.
What about obelisks?
Seen them about, have you? Odd things. They've always been here, but they're not of here, if you take my meaning. You'll see those Knights of Order around them during the Greymarch, drawn to them like flies to honey or rotting flesh. Ever wonder why flies like both? Best not to ask.
Who's Syl?
The Duchess of Dementia. Ever wary, ever worried. A prisoner in her own house, in a way. And a delightful conversationist, really. A bit harder to meet than Theoden. Consider making an appointment.
And Theoden?
The long-reigning Duke of Mania. A master of merriment, if you will. Or if you won't. I suspect it wouldn't matter to him. Come visit again, or I'll pluck out your eyes!
Alright, let's catch up on a few details here. Some of these we've already read before, but I just want to kind of catch up.
The Antipodian Hammer. I've met Cutter of New Sheogorath. She can forge items from Madness Ore.
What about the Amber, though?
The Coming Store. Ajaza believes the world is ending soon, so she's gathering supplies. She would like me to find 3 items she's still missing. The Amulet of Disintegration, the Ring of Desiccation, and the Calming Pants. Brythar. Brythar has refused to stop his crime spree because his collection isn't complete. I may be able to use this to my advantage. I need to bring 5 flawless pearls to him. Otherwise, I may have to seek a more creative or violent means to obtain Earl's reward. Final resting. Hiris Clatumus told me to meet him after dark at the sewer grate northeast of the statue of Sheogorath sitting on his throne. Addiction. I need to speak with Theron in order to learn more about the realm of mania. Lady of Paranoia. I need to travel to the House of Dementia and seek an audience with Syl. Understanding Madness. I need to speak to the Duke of Mania and the Duchess of Dementia, as Sheogorath wishes for me to better understand the inner workings of his realm.
Welcome to the House of Mania.
Any sweet rolls?
Welcome to the Halcyon Conservatory.
Ah, yes, there you are. You couldn't imagine how long I've been waiting for you. So little to do and so much time. Could you, in fact, imagine just how long I've been waiting? I don't think you could, but I might be wrong. I might also not care. Which is it?
You don't care?
Don't I? I thought I did. But then I also thought that you would be heavier. Look at you. You're light as a chair. How do you walk around like that? It's all the same to me, either way. All of it. Nothing is right without the chalice. Have you ever used it? No, of course not. You simply must. You just have to try it. It'll change your world, expand your horizons. Contracting leads to expanding, you know. Well, most of the time.
Tell me about this chalice.
Oh, so you've heard of it?
I haven't.
You haven't heard of it, yet you know its name? What a strange creature you are. One of my favorite toys. Does wonders for creativity. Well, not by itself, but it helps. Those Elytra, clever little bugs that they are. Is this making sense? Look, you eat the Feldew, then use the chalice, and find the world a much brighter and happier place. Honest. But I don't have it, so I can't eat Feldew, because that would just be bad. I mean, really bad. Damn her.
Who?
We hold on to fleeting things, even as we slip. I knew, and yet I indulged myself anyway. I indulged her a fair bit, too. It was passion. It was forbidden. Oh, the things that would be said if word got out. That made it all the more delicious. From Dementia's own court, no less. Scandalous. Fatal, perhaps. But passion makes no accommodation for self-preservation.
Do I know her?
Don't you? If you don't, you might. You wouldn't fall for her, though. Not the type.
What happened?
Opposites repel, strangely enough. All that pleasure and pain locked away now, as if it never happened. Unfortunately, the chalice is locked away as well. I have no wish to retrieve it myself, but fetching it might do you some good. My head is positively throbbing now. Can you see it? I need to lie down. Find someone to tell you the rest of the story. Get the chalice.
Thaydon has asked that I retrieve for him the Chalice of Reversal. I need to find someone in his court or in Sils who knows where it might be.
You've been speaking to Thaydon, I can tell. He has a certain effect on people. Did he mention me, perhaps? Or was there something else you wanted to discuss?
Do you know about the Chalice of Reversal?
I don't ask too many questions of Thaydon. It's precious to him, and that's all that matters. It's his own business. But didn't he mention where it is? Oh, I see. How brilliant of him. This is for you as much as it is for him. Oh, very good, Thaydon. Dunroot Burrow is your goal, my friend. And what a goal it is.
Sorry, what?
You don't understand. This isn't just about the chalice. This is about you. We must discuss Dunroot Burrow.
All right, tell me about it.
Yes, yes, a most unique place. Of course the chalice would be there. Don't you see? It's the Elytra. They're the reason.
Of course.
The chalice, Feldu, Elytra, it's all connected. One without the others is no good. Poison. Oh, a rough road awaits you. Some Elytra there are different. You'll need to get Feldu from them and eat it. Can't get in without it. But once you do... He wants you to learn for yourself. Learn, grow, experience. It's his way. I shouldn't say more. But the burrow, it's northeast of New Sheogorath.
Anything else to say about the Chalice of Reversal?
The chalice is in Dunroot Burrow. Haven't you been listening?
Okay, anything else to say about the burrow?
Go there. Take the Feldu from the Elytra. Eat it, and your journey begins. You will be thankful to Thaydon when this has passed.
And Feldu?
Oh, it wouldn't do to speak of it. Thaydon's plan for you, I mean. I like you, little one, but I would never interfere with what Thaydon wants.
You sure?
Oh, it wouldn't do to oh. I'm listening. That's pretty far-fetched. Don't. I accept. Yeah, I get it. Sure, that's cute. So you say. What not? Don't, please, I'm sorry. Not bad. That never happened. Yes, yes. Don't waste your flattery on me. That's pretty good. Don't waste your flattery on me. Don't. I doubt it. That's pretty good. What nonsense. So you say. No more. You're frightening me. Whatever you want. Not now, not later, not ever. Sure, that's... I doubt it. Whatever. Not now. Yeah, right. Yes, whatever you say. Yeah, what nonsense. That's pretty good. Sure, that's cute. So you say. Don't. Yes, whatever you say. Don't, please. Don't waste your That never happened. Yes, whatever you say. Don't try to manipulate me. Yeah, that's pretty good. Don't try to manipulate me. No more. You're good one. I doubt it. Well, perhaps Thaden would want you to have a bit more guidance. He did say that you should talk to me, did he not? Feldu is a poison, little one, a very dangerous drug. You'll feel good at first, but that wears off, and if you go long without it, you'll suffer.
Thanks.
See you later.
Alright, I do want to find a place to rest, but let's, there's actually a few things I want to get through, but...
Welcome to the House of Mania. Speak quickly, Morgan.
You think I'm ugly, don't you? And that she's a prettier smith, is that it?
Hardly.
I'm sure I have something here you can use. You've got a good deal there.
Alright, so I got a few
You need anything else, you know where to find me.
I have a couple of ideas, so... Strength, intelligence, and 3 speed.
Goodbye. Welcome back. What can I do for you? Before my master passed on, she hid countless matrices in the world, there to soak up the magical essence of our world. As my master has done, so will I, before I pass on. Find me one of these matrices and enough amber, and I will craft you a magical item. How can I help you? That's a big chest you've got there. You need any help getting this thing on? Before my master passed on. Here you go. I shaped these to your exact measurements. Need some help getting them on? How can I help you? Now you know what they say about the size of a man's boots. What do you require? You know what they say about the size of a man's hands. What do you require? Don't know why you'd want to cover up that gorgeous head of yours, but here you go. I can make just about anything look good as new.
So, I wish I kind of...
Remember, come to me for all your crafting needs.
I wish I understood the way the magic worked a little bit better. I don't really want to spend too much time looking at the wiki quite yet, but I want to see if it has anything to say about it.
Welcome back. Before my...
Oh. There are amber matrices. Oh, God. Alright. I don't really want to autosave that, because that's a big waste of amber.
You think... Always a good idea to protect yourself. I can help with that. That seems fair to me. If you need it... See?
Yes, I've only found madness so far, but apparently that's not it. Or not the only element. Fair enough. Alright,
You later. It is good. Armor and weapons. Maybe not pretty, but they get the job done. Goodbye.
Something you need? I have much to offer, and I'm always on the lookout for more. Goodbye.
just trying to see if there's any other places I might be able to get some books. I mean, I think I've already been to Books of Bliss, but let's just double check.
how'd you like to get together later and leaf through my octavo? I'm sure I have something that will interest you. Got to go. Have things to see and people to do.
All right.
"16 Accords of Madness, Volume 6, Hircine's Tale. Ever proud and boastful, Oblivion's mad prince stood one fifth day of mid-year among the frigid peaks of Skyrim, and beckoned forth Hircine for parley. The huntsman god materialized, for this was his day, and the boldness of Sheogorath intrigued him. Wry without equal, Sheogorath holds in his realm giggling loons, flamboyant auteurs, and craven mutilators. The mad prince will ply profitless bargains and promise senseless bloodshed for nothing more than the joy of another's confusion, tragedy, or rage. So it was that Sheogorath had set a stage on which to play himself as rival to Hircine. Without haste, the coy prince proffered his contract. Each prince was to groom a beast and meet at this place again. 3 years to the hour, and do fatal battle. Expressionless, behind his fearsome countenance, Hircine agreed, and with naught but a dusting of snow in the drift, the princes were gone to their realms. Confident, but knowing Sheogorath for a trickster, Hircine secretly bred an abomination in his hidden realm. An ancient Daedroth he summoned, and imbued it with a foul curse of lycanthropy. Of pitch heart and jagged fang, the unspeakable horror had no peer, even among the great hunters of Hircine's sphere. In the 3rd year, on the given day, Hircine returned, where Sheogorath leaned cross-legged on a stone, whistling with idle patience. The prince of the hunt struck his spear to the ground, bringing forth this unnatural, snarling behemoth. Doffing his cap, sly as ever, Sheogorath stood and stepped aside to reveal a tiny, colorful bird perched atop the stone. Demurely, it chirped in the bristling gusts, scarcely audible. In a twisted springing heap, the Daedroth was upon the stone, leaving only rubble where the boulder had been. Thinking itself victorious, the monster's bloodied maw curled into a mock grin, when a subdued song drifted in the crisp air. The tiny bird lightly hopped along the snout of the furious Daedroth. Sheogorath looked on quietly mirthful as the diminutive creature picked at a bit of detritus caught in the scales betwixt the fiery eyes of the larger beast. With howling fury, the weir thing blinded itself trying to pluck away the nuisance, and so it continued for hours, Hircine looking on in shame while its finest beast gradually destroyed itself in pursuit of the seemingly oblivious bird, all the while chirping a mournful tune to the lonesome range. Livid but beaten, Hircine burned the ragged corpse and withdrew to his realm, swearing in forgotten tongues. His curses still hang in those peaks, and no wayfarer tarries for fear of his wrathful aspect in those obscured heights. Turning on his heel, Sheogorath beckoned the minuscule songbird to perch atop his shoulder and strolled down the mountain, making for the warm breezes and vibrant sunsets of the Abyssinian coast, whistling in the tune with the tiniest champion in Tamriel. 16 Accords of Madness, Volume 9. Vermina's Tale. Darius Shano found himself running as fast as he could. He had no idea what he was running from or towards, but he didn't care. The desire saturated his mind. There was nothing in the world except flight. He looked around for landmarks, anything to place himself or to use as a target, but to no avail. The featherless grassland through which he was sprinting extended as far as the eye could see. Just have to keep running, he thought to himself. I have to run as fast as I can. On and on he ran, with no end in sight or in mind. Standing over Darius Shano, while he lay quietly in his bed with his mistress, Vermina the Dreamsweaver and the mad god Sheogorath. Vermina looked down with pride at this disciple of hers, and was boastful of her little jewel. Such potential in this one. Through dreams of inspiration, I have nurtured literary talent into fruition, and now he stands in acclaim as an emerging bard and poet. He will gain much favor before I tire of him. Sheogorath, too, gazed at the young Breton artist and saw that he was indeed famous among the other mortals. Mused Sheogorath. How many are there who hate this mortal whom you have built? It is the hatred of the mortals which confirms greatness, and not their love. Surely you can accomplish this as well. Vermina's eyes narrowed. Yes, the mortals are indeed often foolish and petty, and it is true that many of their most bold have been despised. Do not worry, Mad One, for I have the power to achieve many forms of greatness with this one, hatred among them. Perhaps, Dreamweaver, it would be amusing to show who has this power. Inspire foolish, arrogant hatred of this mortal for 10 years, and then I will do the same. We shall see whose talents are the most efficient, free of aid or interference from any of the Daedra. At this she relaxed into confident pleasure. The Mad God is indeed powerful, but this task is suited to my skills. The mortals are repulsed by madness, but rarely think it worthy of hate. I shall take pleasure in revealing this to you, as I bring the more subtle horrors out of this mortal's subconscious. And so, in the 19th year of his life, the dreams of Darius Shano had been experiencing began to change. Fear had always been part of the night for him, but now there was something else. A darkness began to creep into his slumber, a darkness that sucked away all feeling and color, leaving only emptiness behind. When this happened, he opened his mouth to scream, but found that darkness had taken his voice as well. All he had was the terror of the void, and each night they filled him with a new understanding of death. Yet when he woke, there was no fear, for he had faith that his lady had a purpose. Indeed, one night Vermina herself emerged from the void. She leaned in close to whisper into his ear, "Watch carefully, my beloved." With that, she pulled the void away, and for hours each night she would reveal to Darius the most horrible perversions of nature, men being skinned and eaten alive by other men, unimaginable beasts of many limbs and mouths, entire populations being burned. Their screams filled his every evening. In time, these visions gnawed at his soul, and his work began to take on the character of his nightmares. The images revealed to him at night were reproduced on the page, and the terrible cruelty and hollow vice that his work contained both revolted and fascinated the public. They reveled in their disgust over every detail. There were those who openly enjoyed his shocking material, and his popularity among some only fed the hatred of those who found him abhorrent. This continued for several years, while the infamy of Darius grew steadily. Then, in his 29th year, without warning, the dreams and nightmares ceased. Darius felt a weight lifted, as he no longer endured the nightly tortures, but was confused. "What have I done to displease my mistress?" he wondered aloud. "Why has she abandoned me?" Vernima never answered his prayers. No one ever answered, and the restless dreams faded away to leave Darius in long, deep sleeps. Interest in the works of Darius Shano waned. His prose became stale, and his ideas failed to provoke the shock and outrage that they once had. As the memory of his notoriety and his terrible dreams faded, the questions that raced in his mind eventually produced resentment against Vermina, his former mistress. Resentment grew into hatred, and from hatred came ridicule, and over time ridicule became disbelief. Slowly it became obvious. Vernima had never spoken to him at all. His dreams were simply the product of a sick mind that had righted itself. He had been deceived by his own subconscious, and the anger and shame overwhelmed him. The man who once conversed with a deity drifted steadily into heresy. In time, all of the bitterness, doubt, and sacrilege focused in Darius a creative philosophy that was threaded throughout all of his subsequent work. He challenged the gods themselves as well as the infantile public and the corrupt state for worshipping them. He mocked them with perverse caricatures, sparing no one and giving no quarter. He challenged the gods in public to strike him down if they existed, and ridiculed them when no such comeuppance was delivered. To all of this, the people reacted with outrage far greater than they had shown his previous work. His early career had offended only sensibilities, but now he was striking directly at the heart of the people. His body of work grew in size and intensity. Temples, nobles, and commoners were all targets of his scorn. Finally, at age 39, Darius wrote a piece titled The Noblest Fool, ridiculing the emperor god Tiber Septim for integrating into the pathetic Nine Divines cult. The local king of Dania, who had been humiliated by this upstart in the past, saw his chance. For his sacrilege against the empire, Darius Shano was executed with a ceremonial blade in front of a cheering crowd of hundreds. His last bitter words were gurgled through a mouthful of his own blood. 20 years after their wager was first placed, Vernima and Sheogorath met over Darius Shano's headless corpse. The Dreamweaver had been eager for this meeting. She had been waiting for years to confront the Daedric prince over his lack of action. I have been deceived by you, Sheogorath. I performed my half of the bargain, but during your 10 years, you never contacted the mortal once. He owes none of his greatness to you, or your talents, or your influence. Nonsense, croaked the mad god. I was with him all along. When your time ended and mine began, your whispers in his ear were replaced with silence. I severed his link from that from which he found the most comfort and meaning, and withheld the very attention the creature so desperately craved. Without his mistress, this man's character could ripen under resentment and hatred. Now his bitterness is total, and overcome by a madness fueled by his rage, he feeds me in my realm as an eternal servant. Sheogorath turned and spoke to the empty space by his side. Indeed, Darius Shano was a glorious mortal, despised by his own people, his kings, and even by the gods that he mocked. For my success, I shall accept 70 followers of Vermina into my service, and the dreamers will awaken as madmen. And thus did Sheogorath teach Vernima that without madness there are no dreams, and no creation. Vernima will never forget this lesson. 16 Accounts of Madness, Volume 12, Malekith's Tale. In the days before the Ursenium's founding, the spurned orc folk were subjected to ostracism and persecutions even more numerous and harsh than their progeny are accustomed to in our own age. So it was that many champions of Orsimer traveled, enforcing what borders they could for the proliferation of their own people. Many of these champions are spoken of yet today. Among them, the Cursed Legion, Groma the Hairless, and the noble Emig Grokara. This latter crusader would have certainly risen to legendary status throughout Tamriel had he not been subject to the attentions of certain Daedric princes. Emig Grokara was the bastard son of a young maiden who was killed in childbirth. He was raised by the shaman of his tribe, the Gwilkamog, in the peaks of what we now call Normar Heights. Late in his 15th year, Emig forged by hand an ornate suit of scaled armor, a rite of ascension among his tribe. On a blustery day, he pounded the final rivet, and draping a heavy cloak over the bulky mantle, Emig set out from his village for the last time. Word of his exploits always returned home, whether defending merchant caravans from brigands or liberating enslaved beastfolk. News of the noble orc crusader began to grace even the lips of Bretons, often with a tinge of fear. Less than 2 years after ascending to maturity, Grokira was making camp when a thin voice called out from a thickening night. He was surprised to hear the language of his people spoken by a tongue that obviously did not belong to an orc. "Lord Kyra," said the voice, "tales of your deeds have crossed the lips of many and have reached my ears." Peering into the murk, Emig made out the silhouette of a cloaked figure, made wavy and ephemeral by the hazy campfire. From the voice alone, he had thought the interloper an old hag, but he now decided that he was in the presence of a man of slight and lanky build, though he could not discern any further detail. "Perhaps," the wary orc began, "but I seek no glory. Who are you?" Ignoring the question, the stranger continued, "Despite that, Orsimer, glory finds you, and I bear a gift worthy of it." The visitor's cloak parted slightly, revealing nothing but the faintly glinting buttons in the pale moonlight, and a bundle was withdrawn and tossed to the side of the fire between the two. Emig cautiously removed the rags in which the object was swathed, and was dazzled to discover the item to be a wide curved blade with an ornately decorated handle. The weapon had heft, and Emig realized that on brandishing it, that the elaborate pommel disguised the more practical purpose of the balancing and the considerable weight of the blade itself. It was nothing much to look at in its present condition, thought the orc, but once the tarnish was cleaned away and a few missing jewels restored, it would indeed be a blade worthy of a champion 10 times his own worth. "Her name is Neb Crescent," spoke the thin stranger, seeing the appreciation lighting Grokira's face. "I got her for a horse and a secret in warmer climes. But in my old age, I'd be lucky to even lift such a weapon. It's only proper that I pass her on to one such as yourself. To possess her is to change your life forever." Overcoming his initial infatuation with the arc of honed steel, Emig turned his attention back to the visitor. "Your words are fine, old man," Emig said, not masking his suspicion, "but I'm no fool. You traded for this blade once, and you'll trade for it again tonight. What is it that you want?" The stranger's shoulders slumped, and Emig was glad to have unveiled the true purpose of this twilight visit. He sat with him for a while, eventually offering a stack of furs, warm food, and a handful of coins in exchange for the exotic weapon. By morning, the stranger was gone. In the week following Emig's encounter with the stranger, Neb Crescent had not left its scabbard. He had encountered no enemy in the woods, and his meals consisted of fowl and small game caught with a bow and arrow. The peace suited him fine, but on the 7th morning, while fog still crept between the low-hanging boughs, Emig's ears pricked up at the telltale crunch of a nearby footfall in the dense snow and forest debris. Emig's nostrils flared, but he was upwind. Being unable to see or smell his guest, and knowing that the breeze carried his scent in that direction, Emig's guard was up, and he cautiously drew Neb Crescent from its sheath. Emig himself was not entirely sure of all what happened next. The first moment of conscious memory in Emig Grokaira's mind after drawing Neb Crescent was the image of the curved blade sweeping through the air in front of him, splattering blood over the virginal powder coating of the forest floor. The second memory was a feeling of frenzied bloodlust creeping over him, but it was then that he saw the first time his victim, an orc woman, perhaps a few years younger than himself, her body a canvas of grisly wounds, enough to kill a strong man 10 times over. Emig's disgust overwhelmed the madness that had overtaken him, and with all his will enlisted, he released Neb Crescent from his grip and let the blade sail. With a discordant ringing, it spun through the air and was buried in a snowdrift. Emig fled the scene in shame and horror, drawing the hood of his cloak up to hide himself from the judging eyes of the rising sun. The scene where Emig Grokaira had murdered one of his own kind was a macabre one. Below the neck, the body was flayed and mutilated almost beyond recognition, but the untouched face was frozen in a permanent expression of abject terror. It was here that Sheogorath performed certain rites that summoned Malakath, and the 2 Daedric lords held court in the presence of the disfigured corpse. "Why, show me this, mad one," began Malakath, once he recovered from his initial wordless outrage. "Do you take such pleasure in watching me grieve the murder of my children?" His guttural voice rumbled, and the patron of the Orsimer looked upon his counterpart with accusing eyes. "By birth she was yours, brother outcast," began Sheogorath, solemn in aspect and demeanor. "But she was a daughter of mine by her own habits. My mourning here is no less than your own. My outrage is no less great." "I'm not so sure," grumbled Malakath. "But rest assured that vengeance for this crime is mine to reap. I expect no contest from you. Stand aside." As the fearsome prince began to push past him, Lord Sheogorath spoke again. "I have no intention of standing between you and vengeance. In fact, I mean to help you. I have servants in this wilderness, and I can tell you just where to find our mutual foe. I ask only that you use a weapon of my choosing. Wound the criminal with my blade and banish him to my plane, where I can extract my own punishment. The rights of honor killing here belong to you." With that, Malakath agreed, took the wide blade from Sheogorath, and was gone. Malakath materialized in the path of the murderer, the cloaked figure obscured through a blizzard haze. Bellowing a curse so foul as to wilt the surrounding trees, the blade was drawn, and Malakath crossed the distance more quickly than a wild fox. Frothing with rage, he swung the blade in a smooth arc which lopped the head of his foe cleanly off, then plunged the blade up to its hilt in his chest, choking off the spurts of blood into a steady growing stain of red bubbling from beneath the scaled armor and heavy cloak. Panting from the unexpected immediacy and fury of his own kill, Malakath rested on a knee as the body before him collapsed heavily backwards, and the head landed roughly upon a broad, flat stone. The next sound broke the silence like a bolt. I'm sorry," sputtered the voice of Emig Grokaira. Malakath's eyes went wide as he looked at the severed head, seeping blood from its wound, but somehow kept alive. Its eyes wavered about wildly, trying to focus on the aspect of Malakath before it. The once proud eyes of the champion were choked with tears of grief and pain and confused recognition. To his horror, Malakath recognized only now that the man he had killed was not only one of the children of his Orsimer children, but very literally a son that he had blessed an orc maiden with years hence. For achingly long moments the two looked upon each other, despondent and shocked. Then, silent as oiled steel, Sheogorath strode into the clearing. He hefted Emig Grokaira's disembodied head and bundled it into a small grey sack. Sheogorath reclaimed Neb Crescent from the corpse and turned to walk away. Malakath began to stand, but knelt again, knowing that he had irreversibly damned his own offspring to the realm of Sheogorath, and mourned his failure as the sound of his son's hoarse pleas faded into the frozen horizon.
The Oriole do not waste time chatting with mortals.
Did you see my last performance? Did you like it?
Speak quickly, mortal.
I might have to end a little early, but I'm gonna do my best to try and accomplish a couple things. So one, I want to try and find one of these campsites to rest. I also want to go back to Bruma. Well, at some point I do want to get to Bruma. I might be able to afford a little bit of a wait. I'm feeling very nervous.
The results of hard work and dedication always look like luck, but you know you've earned every ounce of your success.
I think I'll do agility in this case. Looks like I've actually already been here. Oh, that's right. No, I remember this place pretty well. Alright, so I do apologize. I know this is quite an early end for me, but I think for me it's quite late. And I do have work in the morning, so I think I'm going to leave it here. And I will try to make sure I have a full-length episode in the near future. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.